Nairobi. A city of movement, of lives crossing, colliding, disappearing. But on the night of September 27th, something silent happened in Pipeline. Something that would shake a family, confuse investigators, and leave a trail of questions that still have no clear answers. These shoes would be the beginning of a mystery, and the end of a life full of dreams. This is the story of Mercy Kwamboka, a daughter, a brilliant University of Nairobi student, and a young woman whose final journey remains clouded by secrecy, fear, and unanswered calls. Hello, and welcome back to Murder Mystery Kenya, your home for the deepest, most gripping true crime and mystery stories from right here in Kenya and beyond. First, a huge thank you to all our amazing subscribers. Your support means the world to us. Every like, every comment, and every share helps keep these incredible stories alive. If you're new here, karibu sana. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and theories. Your support helps us dig deeper, uncover the truth, and tell even more chilling stories you won't find anywhere else. Now, let's dive into today's mystery. To understand what happened to Mercy, we must step into the world she lived in. A world built on ambition, quiet resilience, and a dream to rise above every challenge. Mercy was a second-year UON student, studying chemistry at Chiromo campus. The kind of student who took notes in neat handwriting. The kind who believed education could change her life. The kind who carried hope like a shield. She lived with her family in Pipeline, Embakasi, commuting between home and her classes. Her life was simple, predictable, filled with the noise of Nairobi matatus and the support of the people she loved. There was nothing unusual, no warnings, no enemies, no signs of trouble, until the night she walked out of her home and never returned. Pipeline at night lives a double life. During the day, it is crowded, chaotic, loud, but after 11 p.m., the energy shifts, the laughter fades, the crowds scatter. Only the distant echo of footsteps and the hum of boda bodas break the silence. And on this particular night, that silence mattered. Because somewhere in this maze of concrete and shadows, 20-year-old Mercy Kwamboka received a phone call, or perhaps a message, a signal that would draw her out into the darkness. Her family remembers that moment clearly. A little after 11 p.m., Mercy's phone lit up. She looked at it, paused for a brief second, and then told those at home she needed to step out quickly. "Nitakuwa back soon. I'll be back soon." That soft click was the last sound her family ever heard from her. She didn't carry much, not a bag, not extra clothes, just her phone and a little money, later found beside her body. Whatever waited for her outside, she expected it to be a short meeting. But the streets of Pipeline that night held secrets. The kind of secrets that swallow people whole. It's exactly 3.4 kilometers from Pipeline to parts of Mwiki near the Eastern Bypass. A distance short enough to travel in under 10 minutes by car, but long enough for anything to happen. Investigators believe Mercy did not walk far on foot. The roads were too dark, too empty, too unpredictable. Someone might have been waiting. In a car, on a motorbike, or perhaps she was lured somewhere close by first. Whatever the sequence was, something happened fast. Her phone activity abruptly dropped. No more calls, no more messages, no more movement, just silence. Pipeline residents reported nothing unusual. No screams, no commotion, no struggle. That means one thing. Whoever she met, she trusted enough to follow, or feared enough not to resist. Hours passed. Her family expected her back. Maybe she was meeting a friend. Maybe she had to run a quick errand. Maybe it was nothing. But as the minutes turned into hours, worry crept in. At first, they tried calling her. Her phone rang, then rang again. Then, it stopped responding completely. By 3 a.m., panic had formed. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. Mercy was responsible, grounded, predictable. She didn't disappear without explanation. She didn't stay out late without telling someone. This wasn't her. And then sunrise came, without her footsteps returning to the door. Her family began to ask around, call friends, check hospitals, check police stations. Nothing. No sighting. No information. No clue. As morning light strengthened and Mercy's phone remained silent, a new chapter of dread began. A chapter defined by 24 hours of uncertainty, where every minute stretched into fear, every unanswered call felt like danger. This was the moment her family's world began to unravel. On the other side of Nairobi, in a secluded area of Mwiki, not far from the Eastern Bypass, two residents walking through a thicket made a horrifying discovery. A body, a young woman, partially unclothed, bruised, injured, placed, almost staged, in an area where she was meant to be found. Beside her was her phone and a single 1,000 Kenyan shilling note, a detail investigators would later grapple with. Why leave money? Why leave the phone? Was it a message, a distraction, or carelessness? And then there was the blanket. A blanket that her family would later insist did not belong to her. A blanket that may have come from somewhere else. A house, a car, a room. A blanket that suggested she had been moved. When the autopsy was conducted at City Mortuary, the findings were brutal. Both her legs were broken. Her hands had been doused with a corrosive chemical believed to be acid. Her body bore bruises, signs of a struggle and extreme trauma. Even her gums were bruised, indicating force, fear, or both. To pathologists, this was not a simple robbery gone wrong. This was not an accident. This was not a spontaneous attack. This was prolonged torture. Someone took their time. Someone inflicted pain intentionally. Someone wanted to cause suffering or silence her permanently. Toxicology tests were run to determine whether she had been drugged. The results were not made public at the time, but investigators confirmed the matter was being treated as rape, kidnapping, robbery, and murder. Mercy's final hours were filled with unimaginable violence. Her injuries paint a picture that words alone struggle to convey. A young woman taken from the safety of her family's home, dragged or lured into the night, tortured, then dumped miles away in a thicket like a discarded object. But there were clues, small, scattered clues, that police began to piece together. The last real mystery begins with that 11 p.m. call. Who contacted her? Why did she leave the house so quickly? What urgency did the message hold? Her family insists the call was from someone familiar, because Mercy did not act frightened or hesitant. She stepped out calmly, with intention, as though meeting someone she knew, someone she trusted. But there's another theory investigators explored. What if the call was from someone pretending? Someone who used familiarity as bait? Someone who knew her routine? Because Mercy had epilepsy, something her family mentioned, and someone close enough to know this could easily manipulate her into leaving home quietly. The truth is, we may never know what was said in that call, but police would later trace that communication, and it played a central role in the first arrests. This is the period that haunts the investigation. Roughly 4 hours of Mercy's life disappear into silence. Where did she go? Was she still alive during those hours? Was she driven around? Held somewhere? Harmed in stages? Was there more than one person involved? The broken legs suggest deliberate force, or that she was restrained, dragged, or dropped. The chemical burns suggest she was assaulted in a controlled environment, a room, a safe house, a contained location. Then there's the blanket. a household item, not something found randomly in the wild. And her body placement, carefully in a thicket, not deep inside it, indicated she was meant to be found, but not immediately. This wasn't random. This was organized. The area where she was found is quiet at night, rarely patrolled, and perfect for someone trying to hide a crime. But not too far from the road. It was a drop point, a place chosen for convenience, not symbolism. Back at home, Mercy's mother kept calling. No response, no ringing tone anymore, just nothing. As dawn broke, hope faded. The minutes felt like hours. The hours felt like days. When word finally reached the family that a body had been found in Mwiki, they rushed there. No one is ever prepared to identify their child's body. The shock was immediate. The injuries, the state she was in, it broke them. Her mother described Mercy's body as something that had been through hell. Her family screamed at the injustice. They demanded answers. They demanded action. They demanded justice. And in the days that followed, the public would join them. In the weeks that followed the discovery of Mercy Kwamboka's body, investigators from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations reconstructed the movements of her final night. Forensic experts analyzed her mobile phone activity, mapped cell tower connections, and interviewed every individual she was last seen or last heard speaking to. By the second week, the inquiry had begun narrowing toward two individuals, both familiar to Mercy, both officers of the Kenya Defense Forces. Their names, Joseph Ngera Kamau, 26, and Fred Mathenge Kanja, an army officer stationed in Embakasi. According to investigators, these were the last known people to contact Mercy on the night she disappeared. A breakthrough emerged when detectives traced a vehicle believed to have picked Mercy from her home shortly after 11 p.m. That car, a Mazda registration KDA 796L, was a military vehicle linked directly to Joseph Kamau. Phone location data, CCTV footage from Pipeline and Komarok, and multiple witness statements aligned. Kamau drove to Mercy's home, picked her up, and headed toward Komarok. Police reports indicate that Mercy and Kamau arrived at his residence shortly after midnight. What followed inside that compound remains the most disputed part of the investigation. However, detectives concur on one point. A confrontation occurred, and it escalated violently. According to official documents, Mercy was overpowered. Investigators believe she may have been unconscious, or worse, when Kamau contacted Kanja for help. What detectives pieced together next was chilling. The two men allegedly moved Mercy's body, placed it in the Mazda, and drove toward Mwiki. That journey would end in the same thicket where her body was found at dawn. Some official accounts claim the suspects later led detectives back to the disposal site. Other statements revealed contradictions, but three evidentiary pillars remained unchallenged: the vehicle, the phone data, and the timeline. The crime scene offered a disturbing forensic picture. Mercy's body showed multiple injuries. These injuries were inconsistent with accidental harm. They pointed toward a prolonged assault. Forensic analysis of the Mazda confirmed that soil samples from the vehicle matched soil from the Mwiki dump site. Witnesses reported seeing a similar car in the area between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. Mobile phone data placed both Kamau and Kanja within the vicinity during that same window. Taken together, investigators concluded Mercy was not killed where she was found. She was transported there. Due to the brutality of the crime and the strength of the evidence, detectives opened multiple investigative lines. The two suspects faced potential charges including kidnapping, sexual assault, pending forensic confirmation, murder, robbery with violence, improper disposal of a body. These charges represent some of the gravest offenses under Kenyan law, reflecting the horror investigators believe Mercy endured. We end where we began, with a pair of shoes that never walked back home, A city still carries her memory. A family still waits for answers. And a justice system continues its slow, deliberate march toward the truth. Mercy's story is not just a case file. It's a reminder that behind every headline, there is a life, a dream, a voice that deserved to be heard. May her story push us to ask harder questions. May it push the system to move faster. And may we never forget the name, Mercy Kwamboka.